Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Wednesday, June the 25th, 2025. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We had a very tight opening range formation, and yesterday's highest candlestick, again, another bearish candlestick, as the highest volume candlestick of the day. The range, 50% of that range looks like 61.49, 61.50. Above that, buyers are going to take control again into 61.55 and potentially higher. The opening range, small, right? We're looking at about 6 points with the low of 61.38-ish and a high of 61.44-ish. Below 61.38, I suspect sellers will engage and push us down into 61.32, maybe 61.26. Low of the expected move, 61.11. High of the expected move, 61.78. Price action, very compressed. They're waiting on something, and really we've got new home sales and then the EIA report, so nothing really shocking there. Trend is up. Momentum is drifting sideways, but when it's drifting sideways, trend, of course, is going to take over. VWAP a little bit flat, and it seems like this high volume area candlestick is trying to hold things down. If we draw, do I have a Fibonacci there? No. If we draw Fibonacci here, we can see that 50% range take us through the formation, and it's holding it fairly well. So the range event again, 61.38 to 61.50. Let's take a look at the NQ. I am a little early this morning. I've got some outside appointments. Wanted to take care of this before I left. Let's take a look at the E-mini NASDAQ here. Also very tight range, seeing a tight range across the board in all the instruments. Everything holding very, very tightly within a range. Low edge of the opening range in the NQ, 22,384. High, 22,412. So incredibly tight range in the NQ. High volume candlestick occurring at 3 p.m. That doesn't make up for a ton of the buying that was there yesterday, even though it did decline into the day. We are holding old resistance as new support. We're holding the low of the Globex low. Trend is up. Momentum is sideways, but in positive territory. This says to me that the dips are buys, just as they are in the ES. What dips might we see? Well, let's use the Fibonacci again. Low end, maybe 22,378. Might be a nice bounce action event. Above 22,000, it's wicking here. Above 22,440, we've got upside move. Low of the expected move, 22,277. High of the expected move for the day, 22,551. Again, trends suggest buy the dip, not our mindset that goes, well, it's gone up a lot. It's got to roll over. That's got nothing to do with what the chart is telling you. So pay attention to the pictures and put your bias on the side. And this is really what I have to say to myself today, because I did expect some sort of downside motion, but it is not occurring. And until and unless it breaks this 22,370, dips are going to be buys, right? We need to see a failed test at 22,370 to have ourselves a pretty good short. And we're nowhere close to that. All right, let's take a look at the YM. So the YM came right up into our target yesterday. From yesterday's video, you'll notice that I had 43,482 as the target. It came right into it and faded. We had the highest volume candle of yesterday really was the 9 a.m. candlestick, and the 3 a.m. candlestick, 3 p.m. candlestick, excuse me, Eastern Time, does give us the range of the current motion in general, but the real one to measure is probably this 9 a.m. candlestick formation. So let's do that. Just draw the Fibonacci right there. And we can see the 2.5 area is 43,550. That's probably an upshot area into 43,700. If we break 43,370, we should have some downside action. But not until a failed retest there puts us back into the box. It looks very range bound, folks, incredibly range bound. That means the deep dip's going to give us buy zones. Trend up, momentum drifting, but that's a mean reversion drift because the moving averages are holding so very well. The one fly in the ointment to me across the board is the distance from the 63 simple moving average on the 1 hour chart. And so this suggests to me that we either have a mean reversion event, which moves very sideways and just waits until the moving average catches up, or we have ourselves a dip that bounces quite quickly. All right, so that's what we are staring down there. Opening range in the YM, low 43,370. That's the failed retest we need today. High 43,419, but we'll need to really break 43,480 for upside pressure to really show itself. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. Also across the board, tight opening range, low edge of the range, 105,870, high end of the range, 106,215. Tight, right? So what has this chart done? The highest volume candlestick of recent measure is the 6 p.m. candlestick. This is very interesting. Oh, I see what's happening. This is an overlap event, right? So we've got a couple of candles that are overlapping here, and take a look. Inventory accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. This looks like a distribution event at a profit, right? So this one clearly looks like it's up and out over the edge. It's got a little bit of a topping formation here. Dips are buy zones. What's a good dip buy? 105,539. That is the weekly expected move. The traders came in and battled very hard around that region. As long as they stay above it, this continues to be a buy zone. Low of the expected move, 104,557. High of the expected move, 108,035. Trend is up. Momentum is up. Clearly, dips are buy zones. If you're looking for a swift entry that's a bit higher than that 105,500 area, 106,330 gives us the pullback area that should give us another lift off to the upside. It's a very, very interesting price action there with Bitcoin. I expected it to fade a little bit more, but it really did rise dramatically. Let's take a look at the copper futures. Copper's been very interesting. Sideways formations, very, very sideways formations. It's still caught in a sideways formation. Notice, largest volume candlestick of yesterday puts us right in the opening range. Now, there's also a volume candlestick that's just as bearish, sitting right underneath it. So we are holding a very congested range. What's the best trade? Low edge of the range for long, high edge of the range for a short. Opening range formation, a low of 4.891, a high of 4.902. So also very tight. We've gone above it, this range, and below it, and then above it again, now holding the top. What is trend? Well, it's generally up, right? The 50 is sitting in a space where the price action normally dips. So you could say, you know what, maybe I'll take this trade at around, let's use this one. Maybe I'll take this trade at around that 63 moving average at about 4.86. I'm going to wait for the bottom. I'm going to wait for the bottom and not stay involved in this mess. Just going to sit it out. So, low edge of, look at the volatility in here. The spreads have just really widened in copper. Not any place else as much, but in copper for sure. So 494 is the high end of the range, 4.94, 4.76, low end of the range. I'm going to anticipate that that actually squeezes up during the day into that 4.78, 4.79. That's what I would like to see, the deep dip that brings price action back into this big sideways formation. All right, let's look at nat gas. That one was quite the mover. I mean, it's moving like oil, right? Just a shocking drift to the downside. Also, nat gas, very tight range. The range, low end of the range, 3.542. High end of the range, 3.549. We moved above it and then broke below it. But look at the trend. Trend is down. Momentum pegged, right? It's retesting the low. Now, my thought is that it should try to move sideways here simply because it's tracking oil just a little bit. The volatility, expected move on the low end today, 3.46. Expected move on the high end, 3.64. It's run straight through all of its expected moves for the last 2 days, just like oil. Bounces are clearly sell zones, right? What's the ideal bounce area? I like the short that retests yesterday's closing VWAP at about 3.59. That's my thought. At this juncture, selling pressure galore, right? The bounces are sell zones. Remember, this is an expensive instrument, so you have to be very careful. And yeah, if you want to take it long, it's got to get up over that 3.6 and then retest that area. And right now it's bounded by 3.64. No clear trend, but I do like no clear trend of reversal in that space. We are sitting in an area that could easily break down just a bit more, so I definitely would not be buying the dip here. It's got to get up and over and retest old resistance as new support. And that number is 3.59. Okay, let's go to oil. These tight ranges, I mean, folks that trade the overnight, oh, they must be tearing their hair out. There's absolutely nothing going on here, and no high volume candlesticks yesterday in oil per se, right? I mean, we do have this one. It's the highest of the day, so we will mark it. But it's not very significant, right, in terms of the volume. The day before, we had this massive volume fade right here. People are still very short. The opening range for oil, low $65.05, high $65.40. We just broke out of the top edge of this opening range, but we have collapsed back into the bottom, into the middle of the opening range. Trend is down. The VWAP is flat. It's very bearish, right? Could this be mean reversion and then we fade again? Absolutely. There are lots of things going on here, and there is a very large order that's been sitting on the books for a couple of days at 63. And so we'll see what happens there. Bounces are sell zones in this environment. Low edge of the expected move, $63.78. High of the expected move, $66.46. Notice there are a lot of wicks here. So that 66.46 could easily be breached into $67.24. What's momentum doing? Cresting up, rotating over. That's a pretty good short at 65.57. That's the anchor of yesterday's VWAP close. Okay, so still very bearish in oil. Traders trying to buy it up. I was on Lunchbox Trading yesterday with Hogue and Deanna, and I was talking about taking along here, but they talked to me about the orders sitting all the way down at 63, and I waited. So I'm going to wait again and see if those happen, and then we might get ourselves a really nice run. Okay, let's take a look at gold. Oh, wash, rinse, repeat. It's very tight action. Every market is waiting on something. Every market waiting on something. What is the opening range for gold? Low, 3,334. High, 3,339. So what is that? 5 points, thereabouts. We are above the opening range high. The weekly expected move that we measured on Sunday night, $3,340. We're sitting above it. That's going to cause some squeeze action if we lose that level. If we hold that level, it's going to be a nice rise into the high of the expected move, which is 3,362. The low of the expected move, 3,315. Now, here's why this is rough. We got a mixed bag here. We're above the tight moving averages, dancing around the VWAP. You can see inventory accumulation right here. So the break to the north, 3,351, should bring more buyers into the mix. If we lose 3,331, we've got more sellers entering the party, and that should accelerate because it'll put us at the underneath the weekly expected move low, and so traders are really going to try and battle this out. The shorts, which are in these two candlesticks, I'm going to draw both of them together. These two candlesticks right here, all of these shorts are now upside down. If they cannot force price action below 33.31, it's going to move to the upside. And so that is what we are staring down. Again, low of the expected move today, 3,315. High of the expected move today, 3,360. Watch for the breakout. Trend is now mixed. It's trying to do a mean reversion. Dips are buys as long as we don't lose 33.31. Okay? And spikes still sells if we look into the 63 simple moving average. Old support easily could be new resistance, stopping us between 3,358 and 3,362. All right, let's get to SPY. Using the measured move from the close of SPY yesterday, let's move this anchor over. Good gravy. Somebody else is, it's very, very interesting, folks. The 5 a.m. candlestick has not, the 4 a.m. candlestick has not printed yet. So it's the 4 to 5 candle that we are watching. So we're just going to go through what's going on. I don't know. Obviously, somebody sold into the close, and somebody sold a big pocket yesterday morning, and then people bought it right up. Somebody sold like 12,000 shares in one swoop, and then everybody bought it up after that. This one, I'll take a look, but somebody seems to be offloading their SPY. So what's the low of the expected move today? 603. I should move. No, I like the target here at the 601. Underneath it, in terms of the formation here. High of the expected move, 610.28. What's the trend? Up. What's momentum? Up. Dips or buys? Dips or buys. The 63 moving average is a bit sideways here, but we are breaking out of a big trend, right? That's what we're seeing across the board. We're breaking out of a range formation that's been holding pretty steady. And so, it looks bullish. It really does. It looks bullish. I don't know if you guys watch Thoughtful Money. It's with Adam Taggart. He had Darius Dale on, who is just a wizard. He's very, very smart. But all he does is technical stuff. He does not do anything that is macro other than following trends over time. And he is calling for a pretty bullish environment over the next couple of quarters. So I find that to be also quite interesting. All right, let's take a look at the Qs. Opening range from this morning, not quite set. It's still in the midst of it. That's yesterday's range. Maybe it'll stay in the same. Maybe it'll stay in the same event, right? So low of the expected move for the Qs, $537.22. High of the expected move, $543.40. The weekly expected move, 540 on the high side. If they breach that, folks, we're going to have another set of stop runs. Highest volume candle of the day, also a red candle, and opening range still inside of that. My thought is above $540.70, buyers are going to try and take over. Below, I would say below $538.70, sellers are going to move into the range that we are seeing here. So that's it, folks, for me. I'll be back by, 10 o'clock or whatever, but I would have been late getting this out if I had not done it this early. All right, take care, everyone. I'll see you soon.